Hello and welcome to episode 92 of the Life and Journal podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Ian.
And today we're joined by Mandy. Hey, say hi, Mandy. Why don't you bring your mic up to you so they can actually hear you. Hello. All tens of our listeners can hear you. Just a joke.
If only that were true.
No, actually, our numbers have been better than that lately. A lot better than that lately.
Well, especially when I'm on the show.
Absolutely.
Is that what it is? Is Mandy the good luck charm?
I would think so.
Well, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter at LIGpod. We're on Facebook also. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcast, our YouTube channel, which I've been trying to remember to say.
I think you've been pretty good the last several episodes.
Have I?
Yeah.
Actually, Ian had to remind me for a couple episodes there, but
which is really shitty.
Yeah, if Ian's got to remind me. We're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, just about everywhere else.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? Ian brought notes.
I did.
Mandy, so this is what, episode 92, I said?
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the, I don't know, fourth time?
No.
Fourth time
Oh,
Ian's
no,
brought
it's
notes?
probably been more than that.
Not many more.
Well, anytime we've ever done a list show, I've had notes.
That's true. We're gonna do
for the most part.
We're gonna do a top 10 movies of the 1990s list.
Yes.
I almost said the wrong decade. Ian was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" I guess I'll have notes for that show.
Yes, my notes are all specifically for the 90s. What are you doing?
No one else has anything else to say while I'm actually doing something else?
Trying to figure out what the hell you're doing.
How am I supposed to make a list and I ain't got nothing to write it on?
Oh, wait, whoa.
You don't have a list already?
What the? Oh, in his defense, he wants to make the top 10 of them.
I have a list.
Oh.
I have my list.
Okay, yeah.
Ian has his list, and then we'll make a combined list.
Gotcha.
And you'll help us to do that.
Yes.
With your list.
So this is an idea we've done before. Mm-hmm. We've done several of them.
Yeah. Well, we did movies of the 2000s.
We've done like albums of the 70s. We've done another one, and it's an idea I stole from another podcast called "You're on the List." They've been doing it for a very long time, and I thought it was a good idea. So
it's fun.
It's fun. It's kind of a good thing to talk about, and we all enjoy movies and music and all that stuff. So why not do another list show?
Absolutely. We're just wondering why you're giggling, but okay. Yeah. Were you giggling at us, with us, or at something else?
Know.
With you?
Okay.
It was with you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So why don't you guys just go ahead and talk amongst yourselves for a minute?
So, Mandy, what's up? How you been?
I say that because I just wanted to eat some candy corn, and Mandy was bitching me earlier because I was chewing into the microphone.
It is rather annoying, but like I said, I can't say anything.
Yeah, we had an entire episode where Ian sucked on some kind of candy the whole time.
Well, no, there was that one episode that Mandy was on. I was eating the gummy lifesavers. Oh, and then there's the other episode that I didn't even know that I was doing. I was like sucking on a mint or something through the whole episode.
Yeah, that's why it was called like the Minty Fresh episode.
Yes.
And actually, Ian did know because I said something, and then he just didn't give a shit and kept on doing it. But
I have no memory of that.
Okay.
I don't. I really don't. To be honest with you, I didn't even know about it till you texted me and said, "You're chomping on something through the whole show." It's like, oh yeah, I had mints in my mouth. That's why
he kills me, Mandy. He absolutely fucking kills me. Like every episode.
I've been trying.
There's something.
Right.
Like every time.
The same.
Anywho, what's at our list?
Yeah, so let's do a show, I guess.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Well, so just kind of give some context. All of us were born relatively the same time, roughly.
Roughly.
We're all a year apart, right?
No.
Yes.
Yes. I'm 78.
Okay.
He's 79. You're 80.
Okay, fine.
So that's 1 year, Mandy.
Well, that's 2 between me and Ian.
Yes. Yeah.
Each.
Okay, fine.
We represent the last 3 years of the 70s, the last 2 years of the 70s, and the first year of the 80s.
There you go.
How's that?
So in the 90s, we were all roughly the same, right around the same age.
We were all in high school together.
Yes.
Essentially.
Ooh, that's right. We were, weren't we?
Yes.
And
I'm sad that you had to be reminded of that, but
I know it seems like so long ago, but then it doesn't.
Yeah.
But then what are you shaking your head for, Mandy?
Because it doesn't seem that long ago. But then I just had my 20-year reunion.
I was going to say, I just realized, because my birthday's in March, I just realized that this year is the 25th anniversary of me getting my driver's license.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. It's scary.
Yeah.
So my son's about to get his.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, I was in class last week, and like I was thinking about it. Like, a lot of these kids were born after I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And
The people we work with, too.
there's 2 of them that are still in high school.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like,
No, I mean, I was shocked with the one nurse we work with is 23, and that was 23 years ago I graduated from high school.
the new clerk they hired, he's 19.
Seriously?
Yeah. Wow. I didn't think they hired anyone under 21 or under 20. Or, I mean, under 22, I mean. 'Cause I think
Things are desperate right now.
the youngest person I know that we work with is
Was 21.
22.
No, Tori hired and she was 21.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, this kid's 19.
Because it freaked me out because her mom is younger than me. She's younger than you, too.
Well, you're an old bastard, so.
If I murder you and then put this out, is that you think
So-
they would take that?
so
down?
maybe-
I'll never tell.
So, Mandy, why we got you on the show? So there's been like this thing going on at work where like people are like, Ian has become everyone's project.
What?
Yes, everyone like I got flack about it yesterday. They were like, someone was like, "Hey, you're a really bad friend," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, how long have you known Ian?" And I was like, "I don't know, like almost
30
years."
years.
30 years.
I was like, "I don't know, older than you, longer than you've been on this earth." And she was like, "Well, and you haven't like hooked him up with anyone?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we tried." And they're like, "Well, trying isn't good enough." So
When did you try?
I don't know. Have I never?
I don't think you've ever
I
tried.
don't think you've ever tried.
Okay, fine. Then fine. Fuck it. I'm a terrible friend. Whatever.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you never
there's
tried.
so there's this long conversation yesterday, maybe at work, about okay, well, we need to do this. We need to get Ian on some like dating apps, and
well,
It was
that'll work if you don't use my actual picture.
it was a 45-minute conversation
That's
because everyone at work loves Ian.
Y'all need to work.
All right. Well, it was kind of slow, but anyway, so everyone at work loves Ian, but yeah, so
Duh.
it was big. It was an interesting conversation. I just got a chuckle out of it. So when you go back to work after your vacation, expect some conversations.
okay.
I told one of them, I was like, well, you need to send an email to management, and then our next staff meeting, let's all discuss this at the staff meeting, because it takes a village.
Takes a village. Wow. Takes a village to raise an Ian. Huh. I'm not sure if I should be flattered or crying. Maybe both. I don't know.
But so anyway, back to a list.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at this point, it really, after 92 episodes, it really solidifies for our listeners that I'm a sad state.
No
If
one
they
said-
haven't figured that out yet.
No one said that.
That's it's kind of sad. I don't
No,
know.
it's not.
No.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that one. Anywho,
Well, you shouldn't take it that way, but all right, let's throw some movies out there. Who's got some movies to throw out there for?
you want to throw one out, Mandy?
Sandlot.
Ooh,
Sandlot is a good one.
that is
What
on
year,
my list, too.
What year did Sandlot come out?
93.
93.
Wow, you actually knew that off the top of your head, Mandy?
Nope. I just looked on my phone before we started.
Oh,
I have that on my
So
list.
Mandy is doing the Ian kind of notes.
Yes.
his normal notes. where
And
you
I'm
just
doing
look-
the normal
Because
Nick
I didn't know that I was going to be on the show.
That's
That's
true.
true, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mandy didn't know until like 2 hours ago.
Not even 2 hours.
As I say, she wasn't even sure 10 minutes before we got on hooked up to
What
the
we were
equipment.
doing.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, no, Sandlot's on my list too, and it's an awesome movie.
That's
It's probably like one of my favorite like family friendly movies of all time. You know it's funny? It's totally the type of movie my dad would love. He's never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, I know. When I brought it up, right? I said, "You're killing me, Smalls." He's like, "What?" Like from the Sandlot. He's like, "What?" I'm like, oh my god! You're retired. You can at least watch this fucking movie.
speaking of. Nick has never seen Dirty Dancing.
You've never watched Dirty Dancing?
That's
never-
not a 90s movie,
I've
but
never.
I know.
I've never seen the whole thing. No,
Oh,
he's never seen it.
I mean,
it's not kind of my kind of movie.
it's not really
Doesn't
mine
matter.
either. But
I guess
It was big in the 80s, and it was on fucking HBO like every goddamn day in like 86.
It was just a little too sappy for me. I like movies.
It is.
I like movies like Footloose and things like that.
Yeah, Footloose is good.
I love
How is
Footloose.
that different than Dirty Dancing?
Well, Dirty Dancing is more of a romantic movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Footloose has romance in it, but it's not. That's not the primary.
He's fighting against the man.
Oh. She
Well,
was
is it
fighting
real,
against
really?
her dad.
Huh?
Is it really though?
Yeah, he is. He's fighting against the town because the town bans
Yeah, but the
rock
town
and
did
roll
it out
because
of like grief.
it doesn't fucking matter.
I know, but it's not like you're really fighting the power when the power is like, we're sad. Don't do that.
They were sad because somebody died. They drove out. Didn't they drive off the road or something like that?
There was a car accident after a dance, and they just banned dancing because that's what Americans do. They ban the simplest thing and don't actually look at the real problems that are involved in the situation.
Maybe that was the deeper meaning of the movie.
It might have been. It might have been. It was lost on most people. Most people just like the dancing.
Yeah, it's a good movie though. Actually, I have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Now, here's a question. This is a little off topic, but have you seen the remake?
I have not.
No.
It's not very good, but it's not as bad as most remakes could be. It's at least watchable.
I don't think that says a whole lot.
You can watch it. It's a watch.
What's that, Mandy?
There was a gnat.
You can actually watch it. I mean, at least once. It's watchable,
Okay.
but it's nowhere near as good as the first one. But anyway.
So speaking of Sandlot, was A League of Their Own, was that in the 90s or
90.
Yeah, and you know what?
I don't have that on my list.
I don't either, but that needs to be on my list because that's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
So
Same.
of all the lists we've done, I felt like this was the hardest list for me to put together.
There's just so many movies to choose from.
There was movies that are that I didn't put in my top 10, which are great movies, like Casino,
Yep, I didn't put that one in mine either.
Clerks.
I put Clerks on mine. Clerks has to be on there.
Malcolm X. I didn't put Braveheart on mine.
I almost put Braveheart and Malcolm X, but
Good Will Hunting.
I have Good Will Hunting on
Oh
mine.
my God, I was right.
What?
It was 92.
Yeah, no, it was
I
definitely.
just
90s.
said that
It
out
was-
of my head.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was the 90s.
And that honestly, that needs to be on my list.
No, that is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
and mine also. But like I said, I had to take really good movies out of my top 10 to.
See, that I guess that's why I didn't really do a top 10. I just made a list of movies that I like that came out in the 90s.
So I'll run you through a couple of mine that I've got in my number one for me was Goodfellas, and I went back and forth between Goodfellas and Silence of the Lambs. For my,
I have Silence of the Lambs on my list. I didn't put really any gangster movies on my list, even though several of them could be and should be maybe.
yeah,
But I kind of went with movies that were just kind of all around, or at least. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've got Pulp Fiction on my list and Usual Suspects, but
yeah.
As far as like gangster films, I like them, and the one Goodfellas is a perfect example of a very awesome one.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not my favorite genre to go to overall, so that's why I kind of left them off my list.
Same. And I've never seen it.
Goodfellas is a great movie.
It is. It
Goodfellas
is a really
not,
good movie.
Like Casino, I understand the Casino.
Yeah.
Casino's
Essentially the same movie.
almost is kind of the same kind of movie.
Yeah.
But there was just so much more to Goodfellas.
Well, and it was like I think it was ahead of its time.
It wasn't just like a gangster movie.
No. That's what I mean. It was ahead of its time for being a film like that because we're talking about predating Sopranos and all that.
Yeah. And it was Goodfellas was 1990, so it was like
Early 90s.
early 90s. The earliest in the 90s you can go, Ian.
Absolutely. I only have a couple. Oh wait. Do I have any from 1990?
I do.
I thought I did. But
What, Mandy? What?
My very, very favorite movie
Crybaby?
Uh-huh.
Came out in 1990?
came out in 1990.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I
It
really
was funny.
I really thought that came out in the 80s.
Bill Maher was a
Late 80s.
rerun last night. It was just his 15th anniversary special,
Mm-hmm.
and they kept showing John Waters, who directed that movie,
Uh-huh.
on there. And my mom goes, "Who is that guy?" I'm like, "That's John Waters. He directed Pink Flamingos and Crybaby." She goes, "I heard of Crybaby, but I'm like, when did you ever hear about Crybaby?"
That's hilarious.
I mean, I just can't see my mom watching that. I definitely can't see her watching Pink Flamingos.
No,
But
I don't know what that
What's
is,
Pink
but-
Flamingos?
it was his first movie. It's weird.
Okay. Maybe that's why I never heard of it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's popular in a certain group of people.
Mhm. Kind of like Crybaby. I mean,
Yeah, I mean it kind of might appeal a slightly different crowd, but the drag queen Divine was in it, and I believe it shows everything. But she ends up giving a blowjob to this guy.
Oh, okay.
Who is playing her son in the movie.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's about all I can really remember from it.
Well,
because once I saw that, I kind of turned it off.
and
it's not really my kind of movie either. It just goes way too.
Or is it?
No, it just goes too far.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. But for the time period, it was avant-garde, and John Waters is known for that kind of weirdness. So.
How about this for a movie that's got to be on a top 10 list? 7.
It's on mine.
Would you put it in the top 10?
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't know if it'd be in the top 5, but it's definitely in the top 10.
maybe.
Just because, I mean, at the very first
What's
time
in the
you
box?
see it,
What's in the box?
That is a, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What's in the
I
box?
say it all the time.
Think about the first time you saw it, though, when you didn't know that, when you didn't know that was coming. That's pretty intense.
No, it was, absolutely.
And David Fincher is one of my favorite directors of all time.
What else do you direct?
Zodiac, Seven,
Zodiac
The
was
Game. Good. Zodiac's another one of my favorite movies, but it didn't come out in the 90s.
No.
The Game with Michael Douglas. He did
Okay.
Alien 3, which is an underrated
Really?
film. Yep. It was a job for hire kind of thing, but he still did it. And he's directed several episodes of the show Mindhunter, and is a heavy producer, main showrunner of Mindhunter
Okay.
on Netflix, which is a fantastic show. Fight Club. He directed Fight Club.
That's another movie I had on my list.
Mine to me too. So it was kind of getting.
Did you
near
like
the
that
end.
though, Mandy? Did you like Fight Club? Do you remember Fight Club?
I do. Yeah. I don't think I did like it very much.
I can understand you not liking it.
Yeah.
But it's
I like
another
the whole
one.
psychological aspect to
Right.
it.
Well, that's
And
another
that's what
movie
usually
where
gets
it's
me is
where you can't, when the punchline comes through, that very first time you see it, you're like, huh.
Yeah.
Wow, that I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see it coming at all.
Do you remember what the punchline was, Andy?
There wasn't two people.
right. It was.
Brad Pitt was him.
And- yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
That's probably what confused me and made me all
right.
like that other movie that we watched that goes backwards.
Memento.
I love
Oh,
Memento.
I hated
Yeah.
that.
I love Memento.
I like Memento. It's not one of my favorite movies.
No,
but
it's
I like
not.
It.
It's not a fantastic
No.
blockbuster or nothing, but it was different.
Yeah.
It was something where especially in the 2000s, where that's kind of the beginning of where they're kind of rehashing everything that had been done before.
Right.
And everything kind of seemed and felt, and even today still kind of feels stale with a lot of these movies. It was one of those movies where you hadn't seen something like that. At least
And I think that
in
was
the mainstream.
That was a byproduct of 90s movies. The 90s was the era of the independent film. The
Absolutely.
up and coming directors getting their movies seen by a lot of people. That hadn't happened in the 80s or the 70s. That was really, really starting to happen in the 90s.
Yeah, Sixth Sense and all that.
Yeah,
that was
Shyamalan.
that was
That was
a
good.
90s movie.
Kevin Smith, Quentin Tarantino. These are
Yeah.
directors who might not have gotten a chance in the 80s or in the 2000s had they not got their start in the 90s.
Yep.
When things were like that, that may never have happened. We may never have those directors.
I got another one to throw out to you, Ian. I didn't have it in my top 10, but it was a movie that dominated one of our summers in high school.
Is it Hackers?
No.
Because I got Hackers on my list.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It's a documentary called Paradise Lost.
Oh, yes,
The
yes.
Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills.
I've watched that movie several times. I've watched the sequels.
Yep. So have I.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
So it was a
It'd
story.
be
It was a story
interesting.
of it was 3 kids that were murdered in Arkansas. It was East Arkansas, just the other side of the Tennessee line. And the murders were pinned on these 3. There's 3 kids.
3 teenagers who wore black, listened to Metallica.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Basically, they were basically convicted on the fact that they wore black and listened to heavy metal.
Yeah.
And some of the heavy metal they listened to is demonic-ish.
And they were finally released from prison. What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that?
I think it's closer to 5 years now. But it's
Did
4 or 5
they ever
years.
find the body?
They found the bodies. They never found the real killers, though.
Okay.
And they were released basically on a technicality because Damien Echols was scheduled to be executed.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't, the only way the state was going to let them go is if they signed a paper stating that the state had sufficient evidence to convict them, but they are being found innocent.
What's up, babe?
Basically, it's the.
Do you need a piece of paper? Is that what you're...
We're doing a show here.
I know we can talk also.
Yeah, we
it's
can
okay.
talk.
Oh.
Basically, it was they had to give up their right to sue for false imprisonment just to get out. And basically, the other two players in it, Jason Baldwin and
That's not very quiet. Maybe it's okay.
Jason Baldwin and I can't remember. Ooh.
Oh, that was really loud.
If you had seen that, you would have seen like it would have
anger.
It would have been like
the anger in her face.
It was a completely unspoken fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Are you doing your own list over there? Is that what you're doing?
Well, yeah, because I didn't.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
They had to give up the possibility of basically getting recompensed for their time.
And I think they all,
in order to save his life.
And the one thing that really always kind of pissed me off is I don't remember which one. It wasn't Damien Echols. He was kind of like the ringmasters.
That's what they called him. That's why he got the death penalty.
Yeah. But one of them, like you could tell, had severe mental handicaps.
Jesse, I can't remember his last name.
Miss Kelly.
Jesse Miss Kelly.
Yep,
Thank
that's
you.
who it was.
He was tested.
Like I said, we watched these like 15 times in one summer.
He was tested, and he came in with an IQ of about 79.
Yeah.
70 is completely incapable of taking care of yourself, essentially. And his IQ is 9 points above that.
Yeah.
And he was convinced, after being held in a cell with no attorney for, 15 hours?
Something like that. It was a really short period.
To basically confess.
Yep.
That it was the whole. I mean, at the end of the day, we can't 100% say that these boys did not do that.
I'm almost 100% sure they didn't.
Me too, but we can't definitively say that. But what they were convicted on and what they were convicted for has nothing to do with those murders.
No.
And or any evidence whatsoever.
But then again, we also going off of
one side.
Three
of
documentaries are made from a
single
perspective.
The first one didn't start out that way.
No, it didn't. But it was like I remember the one father was really fucking weird.
Well, he actually became a suspect at one point.
Yeah, and then didn't he die of like brain cancer or something like that?
No, his wife died mysteriously.
No, he died also.
A year after the third movie, though.
Yeah,
He's in the third movie.
Yep.
He actually came around. He actually started believing that Damien Echols didn't do that.
Yeah. And was he one of the kids'
stepdads
that was murdered? Right. Okay.
In fact, I believe his stepson was the one who was mutilated the worst.
Okay.
Which was one of the reasons he became a suspect. In the third one, apparently, they started looking at one of the other fathers too. According to the third movie.
So I mean, it's.
I mean, we're getting off topic here, but it's.
No, it's all on topic because we're talking about the movie. But I would just say that if you're into like true crime and that kind of stuff, go out and check out. I think there's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them.
It's called Paradise Lost.
Yep. The second one's Paradise Lost Revelations, and the third one is Paradise Lost Purgatory.
But they haven't done anything documentary-wise since their release, have they?
No, because the third one is about their release. It's leading up to their release, and it goes after that.
Oh, okay. So then they did then.
Yeah, I mean the third one is their release. Yeah.
Okay.
But nothing since then.
Gotcha. But I haven't seen like interviews or anything with them.
Damien Echols did some tours, like talking to news places and stuff. But that was very short lived. I think they just wanted to go about their lives.
Oh, I bet. I
mean, what's left of their lives? They lost 20 years.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, on a happier note, let me mention some of mine. I guess this isn't a happier note. American History X.
I didn't have that on mine, but yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one. It's one that, I mean, arguably has come around to become relevant again.
Absolutely.
Theoretically. Saving Private Ryan.
Do you remember what that one is, Mandy? American History X?
I didn't watch it, but yes, Saving Private Ryan's on my list too.
Good one.
Which I didn't see Saving Private Ryan until about It's been within the last 10 years that I finally saw it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And that came out in 98. Good Will Hunting.
Mm-hmm. I had that too.
Shawshank Redemption.
I've never.
Fantastic movie.
Yep. Here's some family-friendly ones. Forrest Gump.
I've got that. I had that in my top. I had that actually in my top 5.
That's in my top.
It would be too. Hook with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Nope.
Wasn't a fan.
Nope.
Well,
Sorry.
you all suck. I'm going home.
And I'm a big Robin Williams fan. I was not a fan of it.
I love that movie. This is kind of this would be an honorable mention, I think, but it was huge when it came out. Independence Day.
I had that too.
I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't have it in the top 10, but yeah, it was a good movie.
Right. To me, it's more of an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah.
Scream.
I
Because
had
I'm
that.
a horror film.
Scream. I had Scream in my top 10.
Because and only because of what it did, it revitalized
Absolutely.
horror for the 90s.
And not even
up to that
not
point,
even horror. It was like slasher kind of horror.
Right, exactly. Well, that you have to almost sub-qualify it as slasher because it up to that point, slasher films were dead.
Oh yeah.
They were dead.
And like the only kind of horror stuff that was coming out late 90s was what, like Blair Witch Project and shit like that.
Well, and this was
Horrible.
90s. This was 96. This was
Yep.
way
I know.
before that.
I know.
But it was because Scream was to the 90s what Halloween was to the late 70s and early 80s.
Yes.
As far as
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the newest one, the fourth one?
Yeah, I loved it.
Is it good? I have.
It's arguably. I think it's better than the third one.
Okay. I think all I've seen was the first 2. I have all 4 of them, but
I would, if I was going to rate them, I would say the first one's the best. 4 is the second best. 2 and then 3.
this is gonna be really loud. I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
All right.
just trying.
We're
to dump,
used to it.
Trying to dump my candy corn out on the.
Yeah,
I have a candy corn addiction. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
It's like heroin to me.
Yeah, it's character flaw.
Yeah. It's my only character flaw.
It's not your only.
Right, candy
It
corn.
is not your only character flaw. But anywho, so yeah, Scream is going to be on any top 10 list I would make personally.
What about Wayne's World? I had
I
Wayne's
had
World in
that.
my top 10.
I was going to put it on there. I didn't know because it's relevant to us, but overall as a '90s movie, I don't know. I had
Really?
some questions. Yeah, because I think that movie would have been just as. It's a movie that would have worked in 2000s. It would have worked in the 80s.
I don't know.
It may not work now, but it would have worked in the early 2000s or late 80s.
Yeah.
Game on.
Yeah, because
It's I mean, for what it is, considering it came from an SNL skit, it's a brilliant comedy movie.
It is.
it's really the only SNL movie that's really worth a shit, really, in my opinion.
Blues Brothers I really enjoy.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I kind of forget. Yeah, I mean, that was a different cast. I mean, that was a different time period.
It
though.
was.
I felt like that was back when SNL was, like, really fucking good with the original cast.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how some of that humor doesn't translate, though.
No,
if you
no,
watch
I
it
bet.
now,
I bet.
it's I mean, it translates for us, but I can see it not translating for others.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Wayne's World is. I think Wayne's World should get an honorable mention. I don't know about a top 10, but definitely an honorable mention.
What's some other ones out there, Mandy?
Doubtfire. Mrs.
Mrs.
Doubtfire.
That's Hook to me. I get why people like it. I don't like it.
No.
I think it's a good movie.
I don't like. It's one of those movies that is secretly kind of sad, like just negatively sad. Because
Well,
no
if
matter
you really think about the premise of the movie.
premise,
Yeah.
and they dig deep, and it's watched as a comedy because of Robin Williams. But if that had been any other actor,
Well, isn't that everything about him?
Pretty
Well,
much.
It
Yeah.
was very sad, but everything's
true,
funny
but
for him.
I just think people aren't seeing the deeper side of the film.
Yeah.
They're not seeing past that.
All right, fine.
No, that's just my
it's
opinion.
it's a good movie.
Yeah, and that's just my opinion. I like the movie, but it's not. It's like, look, I
Yeah.
take it or leave it.
What about Groundhog Day?
It's another one I kind of with the Wayne's World situation.
Groundhog Day is one of those movies I can watch over and over
Yeah.
and over again.
because
Really?
that's what
Because
it is.
happens over and over again.
I think
But it's a great movie though.
it is, and
I wouldn't-
honestly,
it's nothing I had in my top 10, but
yeah.
I thought it was a really
And
good
as a
movie.
premise for a film, it's unique. I think it is.
Yeah.
It's been done several times since, but it's
Yeah.
unique at the time.
Hakuna Matata.
I did not put any animated movies on.
Yeah,
my
I had no
list.
animated movies on mine.
Lion
Now,
King?
Nope.
and Little Mermaid, they were huge, but I was too old, and I was in my teens at this point.
So was Mandy.
No, she was still 2 years younger than me. So I mean, I didn't hit 13 until 91.
I could have been.
She would have been 13 in 93.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, they were still, and she's a girl.
Yes.
So
I am.
I hope so.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
I sure as hell hope so. If
Nick,
not,
we got a surprise for you.
If not, I don't know where the hell the 3 kids came from. It's a hell of a magic trick.
Hey, a guy just gave birth.
No, I don't want to know.
Except for I saw all 3 of them be born. So
That's true.
That's why I said it'd be a hell of a magic trick.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, not that means anything, but as a girl, you're going to be more.
And we're
more of an appealing thing to you.
Huge Disney fans. So.
You grew up more with the Disney stuff, and Little Mermaid is that.
So then Toy Story doesn't count either.
I didn't have it on mine.
Yeah,
I didn't have any animated.
Now,
movies on mine.
the first Toy Story, I don't like the Toy Story movies at all.
Really?
I do not like them. But
they're all great.
But what Toy Story 1 does is it ups the ante on animation.
It's a Pixar movie.
Yes.
That's
Thank you, Steve Jobs.
No, thank you, George Lucas.
Thank you, Steve Jobs. He created Pixar.
No, George Lucas created Pixar, who sold it to Steve Jobs, who sold it to Disney.
Okay.
So thank you, George Lucas. Anyway.
Okay. Let's keep going.
But no, that was the first. I don't think it was the first Pixar movie, but it was the first big Pixar movie. That was when
it was one of
when Pixar was like hitting its like stride, where this is how we're going to go forward.
Yeah.
And for what it is, I appreciate it. I just don't like the stories.
I thought you took the kids to see the last one, didn't you, Mandy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Was it good?
Was it a question that I was supposed to answer?
I thought you would
yes
elaborate
no?
a little bit on yes.
I don't elaborate on anything.
What happened to the ceiling?
Somebody had a party. Apparently.
Someone hit the ceiling.
Did we talk about Home Alone, or was that before?
It was before.
That was before. You can talk about it if you like.
That would be the 1990 movie I was thinking about putting on my
That
list.
I love.
I like it. I do. I like it.
It's so.
I saw the second one in the
much
theater.
happiness. Like, I just love it.
Well, there are some moments that I don't know if I'd laugh at them now, but when I saw it for the first time, I laughed so hard that I cried. But I was 11 when it came out.
Yeah.
Was I 11 or no?
I think
I was 12.
90,
I was 12 when it came out. So, and it's just little things, but it was like the scene where Joe Pesci opens the door and the blowtorch blows on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Just look on his face, because he doesn't move. He just starts screaming, and I start cracking. I mean, the first time I probably laughed for 10 minutes.
No.
When that part, just because of the look on his face. But overall, I don't know if it belongs in a top 10. At least not my top 10.
Yeah.
It could be on your top 10.
Mine, yeah, probably.
But. And to go back real quick, Ian, you were correct. So Lucasfilm did create Pixar, but then sold it to Steve Jobs in 1986, long before it had done anything. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, but it wouldn't have existed if it hadn't been for George Lucas.
It was a computer graphics company when Steve Jobs bought it.
Gotcha.
So, yes, while Lucasfilm did create it, they really had nothing to do with...
No, they didn't say they did, but if they hadn't created it, Steve Jobs wouldn't have had it to buy or sell it to Disney.
Oh, he would have just bought a different company, but that's what he did.
They were ahead of the game. So, I'm just saying, as it stands, thank you, George Lucas.
The way you put it made it sound like George Lucas had a lot more to do with the creation of Pixar, and he doesn't.
If he hadn't started it, it wouldn't have existed.
You're right, but the company that is Pixar that we know of was nothing like the Pixar that it was when Steve Jobs bought it.
Whatever. I'm just saying it started. It started with George Lucas.
He sure did.
And if he hadn't started it, maybe there would have been another one, but things would have been different. So he started it. And thank you, George Lucas. Give the man some props, man.
I'm not.
He George Lucas defined our childhood, okay? If you want to go back to 80s movies, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg defined those two people defined my childhood, at least.
Most people's. At least what movies, even maybe not indirectly. Yeah.
Right.
If not directly, indirectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of movies that Spielberg and Lucas just produced.
Yep.
Their names are on them, and they produced them, but you wouldn't know it. Back to the Future is a Spielberg production. Goonies is a Spielberg production. Willow is... Well, you wouldn't like Willow.
No.
Who the hell really liked Willow?
I did. A lot of people did.
Just reach over and grab some, Mandy.
I can't.
Why can't you?
Just hand
Howard
me
the
one.
Duck.
Howard the Duck's a great movie.
It is.
I like the naked duck in the bathtub.
Yeah. And Play Duck magazine. Yep. And the fact that she has sex with a duck in the movie.
Which that's a little weird.
It's a little weird, yeah.
Did you know that? Did you notice Howard the Duck in the last
Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah.
No, he was in the fight sequence at the end.
Oh, was he? He's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy too. He's in the bar.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or
sure is.
When they go to that to the collector.
What was that look for, Mandy? You made a noise in the microphone.
Well, Howard the Duck is a Marvel character.
It is.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, we're way off topic. Howard the Duck was an '80s movie, so it can't be on my list. So.
Correct.
Pretty Woman.
That won't be on my list, and it won't be on any list. Oh. I don't know why women like that movie. It basically says
it's a good movie.
Be a whore until you find a rich guy to take care of you.
It is a good movie.
I think it is. I think it's sexist, but
oh my god,
I really do. I think it's misogynistic.
That's a little retroactive, isn't it?
Maybe. I'm not saying to ban the movie. I just don't understand why people like it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I don't like it because I find it that way.
And for what it is and the story that it portrays, it's got some really good acting in it.
I won't question the acting, but I just don't. The premise bothers me. It bothered me even back then.
She had to do what she had to do to make.
That's
her money.
fine. Yeah. That's fine. But it kind of gives the idea that that's what all women have to do. That's all they have to offer the world is their fucking bodies.
No.
Until the rich man comes along and takes care of them. Rich white man, I should point out.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my God.
I'm not being all PC because I'm not talking about banning.
It sure as hell sounds like it.
No, I wouldn't suggest banning the movie. I think it's one of those.
Hey,
movies.
I'm just saying, if Julie Roberts knocked on my door and wanted to sell her body to me, she's still hot.
I don't think she. I think
now.
she's hotter now than she was back then.
Very much so.
I don't think I would have touched her back then. Of course, back then I was 12 years old. Maybe I would have just because I was 12.
Yeah, I don't think she would have been arrested for that.
Yeah. Then it'd be that Madonna video.
Madonna video.
Yeah. Open Your Heart is the name of the song. Oh. In the video,
oh, that's right.
The kid sneaks into the peep show and he's watching her strip, and then at the end of the video, she dances off into the sunset with him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
she did some. Really,
I would have been happy to be that kid.
She did some really interesting things in videos back then.
I'm just saying, if that had been like an R. Kelly video and a little girl had snuck into the...
I think R. Kelly has a very different history than Madonna.
Perhaps, but I mean, even so, if it had been a male performer and the roles were reversed, it wouldn't have. I think it would have been more noticeable.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because as a 12-year-old boy, I would have been happy to run off into the sunset with Madonna back then because she was fucking hot.
There's some.
She was.
There's some.
Yes,
like,
she was. I thought she was hot.
30-something guy running off with like a small child like that. Yeah.
That would be. Yeah. I'd get the pitchforks would be coming out.
He'd be a priest. Ooh.
Yeah, the priest could run off with the boy too. In fact, in many cases.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. He ran off with the boy.
Right. Wow. That went dark. Let's see if I got anything out. The Craft. Anyone got The Craft?
I didn't have.
It's
it,
an honorable mention.
Like that one.
The Craft and The Hackers to me are like. Yeah. They can't. I saw them around the same time.
They're both good movies. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're even if I was doing like a top 20. I don't think they'd be.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the movies a lot, and they're actually doing a sequel to The Craft.
What about Natural Born Killers? I didn't have that on my list.
Wow, I didn't have that. I forgot about that one, which it should be on the list. I have True Romance though.
Yeah, I mean, I like Natural Born Killers better, but
I don't. I think I like True Romance better.
Well, Boogie Nights.
I didn't like Boogie Nights.
No Boogie Nights.
No.
I get why people liked it, but I didn't like it. I don't really care about the 70s porn scene. And it was only later that I realized that it's basically a fictionalized telling of an actual story, an actual true story.
What's the other movie that's
Wonderland?
Wonderland. That's actually a really good movie with Val Kilmer.
I mean, it's essentially the same story, give or take. But it's a more accurate portrayal of what happened because he's actually playing a real character, a real person.
Yeah.
So.
And what happened real life was fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it was John. You know who John Holmes is, right, Mandy?
I don't think so.
Like one of the most famous male porn stars.
Because he was, I think, at one point his member was considered the largest in the world.
Oh yeah. What?
So he went into a drug dealer's house, unlocked the windows or doors, back door, whatever it was, to let in a bunch of killers to come in there and like brutally massacre everyone in the house
for the drugs.
Yeah, for the drugs.
Good.
And money.
And did he go to jail for that?
I don't think so.
I know he was tried, but I don't know if he went to jail.
I don't think he did.
I know he ended up dying of AIDS.
Yeah.
Because he was hurting for money so bad that he did gay porn as well.
Yeah. But
and this was back before they understood what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that was the guy in Boogie Nights?
The guy in Boogie Nights is playing a fictionalized version
Wahlberg?
of him.
Mark Wahlberg is playing a fiction, yeah.
Right.
But Val Kilmer actually played him in Wonderland.
Yeah.
I think I did see that.
Wonderland's a really good movie.
I think I've seen
and
it.
It's like I said, it's really fucked up. And it's got a Jethro Tull song in it.
Oh.
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
That's sad.
Mandy is a hater of Jethro Tull.
And
I don't really know why.
I don't either.
Sitting on a park bench. Because it
one
was
song.
tortured. I was
300
tortured
songs,
my
huh?
entire childhood.
I didn't even meet you till you were like 10. 11.
That was my entire childhood.
And you weren't around. Did my sister make you listen to it?
Mm-mm.
Did your parents make you listen to it?
No, my parents don't even know who they are.
I played it in my room and stuff, but you didn't have to listen to it. I think
I will say that song is not one of my favorites.
And it's not very indicative of the career as a whole.
No.
That's just all I remember.
Well, to be fair, that's what a lot of people remember, and that's what they like. I don't get it. But.
And the tootly tootly on the flute.
Yeah, well.
The flute's interesting, but hey, it was like their shtick.
Yeah, it's his thing. He's the Ian Anderson of flute. Ian Anderson is to the flute what Jimi Hendrix was to the guitar, or Eric Clapton was. To
I was gonna say more so than Jimi Hendrix, but
more Jimi Hendrix than Eric Clapton.
No, more Eric Clapton than Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, well that's kind of what he's going for anyway. So, but yeah, it's more that Keith Emerson to the keyboards and whatever.
Did we say Good Will Hunting yet?
Yes, we did.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Did we say Clueless?
I almost had that.
I know, it's for me.
To be fair, I've not seen it all.
It is a really good movie.
Is it? See, I've never really watched it all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces.
It is a good movie.
Is it really true that Paul Rudd is trying to sleep with his stepsister?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
When you look back, when you look back at a lot of movies,
hey,
you go,
they're not
whoa.
They're not related.
No.
It's still weird. You don't have any step siblings. So
they're not really step siblings. Well,
I don't think they are they?
Well, no. I mean, I guess it depends on what step means. Like,
well, that means his parent is married to her parent,
but they have no relation.
There's no relation. That's what I'm saying.
So they're not. No. Okay, I'm thinking half.
Yeah, half would be weird.
Yes.
Step is. It sounds icky.
It's as someone who's had step siblings, it's icky.
It is icky, but it's still.
It is, but it isn't because there's no
breaking
relation.
any, I wouldn't say it's immoral.
No,
it's icky.
Hey, look, in Tennessee, it's completely legal to marry your first cousin.
Right.
Just saying.
And
who is related by
blood? By blood, yes,
by blood.
That goes beyond icky, way beyond icky. The step thing is icky. That's all I'm saying.
True.
Like I said, as someone who's had step siblings, it's icky.
It is.
Have you ever had any hot step siblings?
No.
Okay, just saying. Neither have I. But
because your parents.
And maybe if I had, I guess if they had, maybe that would be a different story. I don't know, but it's icky to me. So.
Okay. It was a good movie though, Mandy.
Okay.
I thought it
was.
Good.
Jurassic Park.
Ooh, you know what? That's one I didn't think of.
And I don't like Jurassic Park.
Why not?
Dinosaurs don't do anything for me. As far as like monsters, man versus beast kind of thing, I can watch Jaws and I'm good.
Huh.
I watched Jaws, I'm done. I don't need it.
No, I thought it was really good. And
I mean, yes, it's Steven Spielberg. Of course, it's filmed well. It's everything's about it. It was the first time that CGI had been used to that level.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again, George Lucas, because it was ILM who designed that. But anyway,
okay, stop sucking them off and let's just move on. Thank you, George Lucas.
I think he's getting paid or something.
shit, if I were, no, I'm doing this for free because I appreciate the guy. Nobody else seems to. Everyone gives him shit. I'm just saying.
Who gives him shit? Who gives George Lucas shit?
Are you kidding me? Have you seen the reaction to the prequels?
Those are fucking...
And Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Okay, I understand that one. Because
I kind of understand that one too, but it's
that
not...
movie. That movie was really good until the whole fucking alien part
I
at the
agree
end.
with you. The ending
completely
is bad.
lost.
Yeah, the ending is bad. And they're not really even aliens. They're trans-dimensional aliens. They're not from outer space. They're from another dimension.
Yeah, that's even weirder.
Yeah, so. But that being said, everything up to that I agree is good. But there's an episode of South Park where it is basically, it shows George Lucas and Steven Spielberg literally ass raping Indiana Jones through the whole episode.
Oh.
Huh?
So basically all the characters go see Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But their memory of that is of George Lucas and Steven Spielberg raping Indiana Jones. Physically raping
That's dumb. And people watch this nonsense.
I like South
maybe
Park.
that's what's wrong with people.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
I think we're on the same page with the whole South Park thing.
I don't think
yes.
so. I don't think so. I think if it weren't for South Park, there'd be nothing out there challenging certain ideas.
There really is.
Do they go too far on some things? Sure. But
what's out there challenging anything right now?
well, I haven't watched South Park the last season, so I don't know. But up to that point, South Park took on PC. They took on Trump.
Outside of South Park.
That's what I mean. I don't
That's
know
what I'm saying.
anyone.
There's nothing out there that's challenging.
That's what I'm saying. I'm defending South Park based on that.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. That's all.
So on to the next one.
Schindler's List.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's another one. It's a little dark for me. I don't know. I mean, it's. I think it's a movie.
That's a great movie, though.
It's a great movie, and I think it's a movie that should be watched in history class.
Oh yeah.
I think personally.
You guarantee it never will, though.
Right, but I think it should be high school history class, obviously. But
especially since there's a certain part of our society that wants to pretend that the Holocaust never happened anyway. But
well, then those people should be watching this movie even more.
Yes. Oh, but speaking of crazy people and their crazy conspiracies, so this is completely off topic, but
Why stop now?
so I was watching a video. I don't remember what it was, but it was talking about how it was discussing the whole fake moon landing videos.
Yeah.
And they brought up a really good point that if you watch the actual footage of the moon landing, all the shadows are parallel. Okay?
Okay.
And if they had filmed that in a studio, like they claim to have, the shadows would come to a point from the light source.
Because it's a smaller light source?
Yeah.
Possibly.
A closer light
I don't
source.
know how light works. I mean, I can...
You don't know how
I
light
can-
works?
Would you let me fucking finish? Mandy,
I'm sorry.
why are you still married to him?
I don't know.
And more importantly, why do I keep coming over here? Because I don't have to live with him.
Right. You have no.
Anyway, I don't know how shadows work in an artistic way.
Okay.
I don't know how to align shadows or how they should align relative to a light source. So I'm not going to say that that's a perfect example for me. Yes, I know if your light source is here and it's aiming at you, your shadow should be over here. But I don't understand why. What you mean by a point?
So what I'm saying though is if this is the light here, okay,
yeah,
and let's say you got an object here and an object here,
right.
the shadows are going to converge.
Sorry, radio people, that you can't see.
Right?
These.
Well, they're not
so-
converging. They're diverging from
Okay,
away
but,
from.
okay,
the,
but still,
okay.
there's still a point that they're converging towards. Which, okay, in the moon landing video, you don't see that. Okay, if there's an object here and an object here, they've got straight parallel shadows.
Yeah. I mean, these are technically parallels; they're just diverging parallels.
Okay, but they won't diverge.
Okay.
They don't diverge in the moon landing video.
Okay. I've actually heard people say that that's evidence for it being fake.
How?
I don't know. That's like I said. I
How?
don't understand how
you
that
would
all-
have to have.
I mean, I guess I understand that.
You'd have
based
to have
on
a gigantic light source
right.
that would make a completely parallel shadow.
Fair enough. I mean, you're
Because-
preaching to the choir. I
Because
believe the moon landing
because the
happened.
distance of the moon from the sun, you're going to have those completely parallel shadows.
Fair enough.
Right?
Okay, like I said, I don't.
But
I could never do lighting in a film because I don't understand angles of lights and stuff.
I just found those really interesting. I've never thought of that before.
Right.
So I don't
I wouldn't
know.
have thought of that
I would
either.
like to see how the conspiracy theory people out there.
Like I said, I've heard
Explain
people
that.
talk about the shadows as an example of why it was fake. So I don't remember it being parallel or anything, but there's
Yeah.
something about the way the shadows are. They're like, yeah, it's fake. Look, you can see that shadow is this way, and I'm like, I don't know.
Huh. Very interesting. But
Anyway,
back to our topic.
now that everyone's turned us off, Mandy's even turned us off.
Yeah, Mandy's,
Yep.
Mandy's watching the football game all of a sudden.
Yep.
What about JFK? I thought that was a fantastic movie.
You know what's funny? It's probably one of my favorite political thrillers.
Yeah. Back and to the left, Mandy. Back and
The
to
director's cut, which is I think an extra 15 minutes.
left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. It really isn't, but that's not the back and left the whole time. But anyway,
I have
was
no
a-
idea what you're talking about.
Well,
Because Kennedy's
they
head
made a
went
joke
back
about
and
it.
to the left.
Was it what show? Was it The Simpsons that did it? The director's
one
cut?
of 'em.
It was the director's cut, and it was like, an extra 15 minutes, and the extra 15 minutes literally is just him saying back and to the left, which it's a joke because that's not really what it was. But the movie's really long, so
Yeah.
they're making fun of how long it was.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Completely lost on Mandy.
yep.
We're just telling jokes that are just completely lost on each other. This is fantastic.
Well, I mean, why? It's pretty much like any other time we tell jokes.
Pretty much. Did we already talk about The Usual Suspects?
It's on my list. I don't know if I mentioned it or not.
Because that was one of the. It was interesting because The Usual Suspects didn't have a lot of hype leading up to its release.
I'd never heard of it until I saw it on
And
TV.
I had
think,
gone to
on
the
HBO.
movies.
Or you had showed it to me. I don't know. One of
So
those.
I'd gone
One
to
of
the
those.
movies with an ex-girlfriend, and we went to the movies at Briarwood, and
Okay, it was an AMC.
yeah, and we were standing there. And we were like, "Oh, I don't know what we wanted to see."
And it was a small theater, so I think it was four screens?
No, I think it was like 6,
Okay. Yeah.
and we were like, "Sure, let's go see that movie,"
Right.
and it ended up being phenomenal. Great movie,
Yeah.
with a big surprise ending.
Big
and all
twist
that.
ending. That was very common back then.
Was it?
Well, I mean,
Because that was 95.
think about just the 90s in general. I mean, look at the movies we're talking about. 7, twist ending. Fight Club, twist ending. The Game, twist ending.
Well, Fight Club was later.
It was 99.
99.
It's on my list.
I know.
But I'm just saying 90s in general, it was very common. What I'm saying is it was common in the 90s. They haven't been able to do it good in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of all been done, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe.
What about Dazed and Confused?
I left it off mainly because I don't think it'll appeal to everybody.
But it's a really
It's a good
It's a
movie.
really good movie with a fantastic soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Launched careers because no one had heard of anyone in those movies.
Right.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Dazed and Confused?
Sorry.
Launched Matthew McConaughey's career.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ben
that's a
Affleck's in
shame.
it.
Yep.
Liv Tyler's in it, I think. She had her
No,
start.
she was in Empire Records.
Which is on my list, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like an honorable mention too. Though
Yeah.
I love that movie though. But so indicative of the '90s. That's why it's an honorable mention because it's so '90s, so like early to mid '90s.
What?
Empire Records.
Oh, of course, absolutely. That was what, like 94?
Let's see.
Off the top of my head,
95. Yeah.
Was it 95? Okay.
Yeah. So, how about The Matrix? Because I think
I was never a fan.
doesn't matter about being a fan. I'm just saying, kind of if it weren't, I think if it weren't for The Matrix, and arguably, which I did put Phantom Menace on there because of how big that movie was that year. Because that whole year was the year of fucking Star Wars, and The Matrix. I think The Matrix paved the way for people accepting more of this long-form storytelling, whether it worked or not, because a lot of people would argue that The Matrix sequel sucked. But whether or not it worked, that was like, people were looking at it this whole, like I said, more of a long form, which really hadn't been done since like Star Wars, but even Star Wars was kind of an aberrant thing. Matrix kind of started it.
It's interesting that you put Matrix on there, but you wouldn't have Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I don't like dinosaurs. I don't
for the same thing. But you said
I appreciate what Jurassic Park did as far as special effects go. I did mention that, but it's not going to be on a list. I have to like the whole package.
The Matrix movies are trash, man. I'm sorry.
That's your opinion.
Yeah. I would have to watch it again.
That's your opinion. You don't have to like them, but I'm talking about what...
I shouldn't say they're trash. I just didn't think they were all that great. And I didn't think the acting in it was really great.
Well, you're not going to get great acting with Keanu Reeves. I'm sorry. Okay? You're not going to get Oscar caliber acting. You'll get okay acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what it's worth, I like The Matrix. I like the Matrix series. I'm excited for Matrix 4 that's coming out. I'm cool with it. I'm just saying that was kind of the beginning of this, what became this long form. Honestly, I think if it weren't for The Matrix, we may not have been ready for what the MCU did.
Maybe.
That's, it's that kind of, looking at a series like that, was more drawn out, even though it's only 3, but more drawn out. They had the Animatrix, which was little short stories that was
tied it all together.
Yep. Exactly. So that's why I appreciate The Matrix. And special effects wise, they pushed the boundaries of what was already being done.
Mm-hmm. No, there's no denying. Yeah.
So that's why I put it on there.
Well, now that we're about an hour long, why don't we put a list together? How about that?
Sure. Let's start with number 10. What do you think number 10
What do you think number 10 should be, Mandy?
Can I just...
whatever
I don't know.
Whatever you think should be on the list, but doesn't necessarily warrant a large, the high number. So number 10 is kind of like a lower number.
Yeah. I only have high numbers.
Okay.
Well, what's the lowest of your high numbers?
For you guys, maybe Home Alone? See, it's not even going to make the list.
Let me see your list.
Let's see Mandy's list there.
Yeah, okay.
Just throw something out, Mandy.
Forrest Gump, League of Their Own,
Well, I think Forrest Gump would be a lot higher than 10.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
All mine are the top of the list. Nothing that's...
But that's why I said, and that's why it was hard for me to put a top 10 list together, because I'm like, well, shit, that should be higher. But I've got to have this above that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say what she's got, because Forrest Gump and League of Their Own is going to be high on the list. For what you've got...
Okay, fine. Let's do this. Where would you put Forrest Gump at? I had it at 5.
Oh, I'd put it at a 3.
3? Okay, we can do that.
At least a 3.
Okay.
For what she's got here, I'd say Scream, Wayne's World.
I had Scream at number 10.
I'll take that.
You can go for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
Well, you put Forrest Gump at number...
I put it at number 3.
We did. You mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about Silence of the Lambs.
I had it high. Like I said, I was going back and forth between...
Well, it won 9 Oscars.
Yeah, that's why I said. I was going back and forth between that and Goodfellas for number 1.
Oof.
I wouldn't put Goodfellas that high. I'd put... If it were me, Goodfellas would be like a 6 or 7.
Okay.
I want League of Their Own or Sandlot at 1 or 2. I know, I'm different.
I would say League of Their Own is going to be more accessible overall as a film of the 90s to a larger audience.
Yeah. Than
Silence of the Lambs. And me personally, I'd probably put League of Their Own ahead of that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know though if I would put Forrest Gump below League of Their Own though.
No.
I'd almost put Forrest Gump at number 1.
That's what
League
I'm
of Their Own at
thinking.
number 2. Silence of the Lambs at number 3. That would be my list.
I'm good with that.
Because, theoretically, I think Forrest Gump is arguably one of the greatest films ever.
I think so, too.
It will go down in history right up there with Gone with the Wind and all those classics. Because it still endures. Silence of the Lambs looks a little dated. It doesn't hold up quite as well.
You don't think so?
It's one of my favorite movies, but it's still it doesn't hold up as well as other movies, even in its own genre. Like, I think The Exorcist holds up better than Silence of the Lambs, personally.
I guess I can see that to a certain extent.
Just based on, overall film quality and everything else. But we're talking about the 90s, so...
Well, okay, fine. How about something lower on the list? Would you guys put Reservoir Dogs somewhere on there?
I would put Pulp Fiction on that before I put Reservoir Dogs.
Before Reservoir Dogs, really?
Pulp Fiction was way more popular.
Is it a better movie, though, than Reservoir Dogs?
I go back and forth on that.
Look at the...
I know.
The way that
I know.
the story lays out in Reservoir Dogs compared to...
I think Pulp Fiction is a more indicative representation of Tarantino's style.
I think without Sam Jackson and John Travolta in that movie, you wouldn't say that, though.
Perhaps.
And look at the cast that's in Reservoir Dogs.
But look at what he was trying to do or attempting to do in Reservoir Dogs. He did better in Pulp Fiction.
That's true.
Because I don't even have Reservoir Dogs on my list because of that. I put Pulp Fiction because I think that's, like I said, I think it's more representative of Tarantino's style.
Okay.
At least in the 90s. So, I also have With Honors on my list. I forgot to mention
that's a great movie.
It is a great movie. It's not a top 10.
It's not a top.
It's like a personal top 10, but it's not top 10. You've seen it, right? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's one of Joe Pesci's best performances ever.
What else, man? We'll throw something else out there.
Oh,
if Ian would give her back her lift.
And I wasn't even looking at it.
I don't think I have anything else you guys like. I said Sandlot. Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting and Sandlot for sure should be on there.
I think low, I would think.
Good Will Hunting maybe number 9. You think?
I mean,
I would be higher on my personal list, but as a group list. And Sandlot, I could easily go with that at 7.
Yeah.
Maybe higher on a personal list.
I was going to say higher on my list.
You got 3 spots left.
Sorry.
And what about 7? Would you put 7 on there?
I would, but I don't know if Mandy would.
I think I would.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would think it'd be pretty high. That's a damn good fucking movie.
So 4? Because I do love that. I watch that movie at least twice a year if I can.
Yeah. It's one we need to buy.
Another honorable mention that I forgot to bring up, because it's late in the year, or actually 2. Nightmare Before Christmas, which was 93, and 99, American Pie.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was kind of the revitalization of teen comedies.
Yeah.
And we were still kind of young enough to appreciate some of the humor. We were pushing the line, but we weren't quite there yet. We could still relate. So.
What about The Usual Suspects? Would you put that on there anywhere or no? You only got 2 spots left. You got 5 and 6 left.
Well, I guess the question then becomes: do you put The Usual Suspects above a Saving Private Ryan?
I would.
Okay. I don't know if I would, or Shawshank Redemption.
I don't know. What do you think, Mandy?
I've never seen that one either.
Which one?
Oh, I've seen it.
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh.
No, you haven't?
Mm-mm.
It's a good movie.
I don't think I've seen Usual Suspects either.
What? Oh my gosh!
You need to make her watch this.
The Usual Suspects. That's a movie I watch at least once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always put Boys in the Hood on my phone.
I've got Boys in the Hood on mine also.
I don't know if that's a top 10. Definitely not a top 10 for me, but it's a movie that's worth mentioning.
If it was on there, I'd have a low on it.
Yeah.
But because that is a great movie.
Yeah.
Especially for the time frame, the time that movie was made. That was what, 90?
91.
91?
Yeah.
So I knew
that was ahead of its time for sure.
It was, absolutely. And it discussed topics that weren't being discussed in the mainstream.
And arguably are relevant again today.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Crybaby's not going to make the list.
Crybaby's not going to make the list, maybe. I'm just going to
I'm sorry.
throw that out
All
now.
right, okay.
We'll put that at number 11, just outside.
Thank you.
I would put it at, if I was going to put it anywhere on the list, it would be at like 19. But
No Titanic.
No.
No.
Yeah, no Titani.
No. Titanic is a well-made movie, but it's
the story. I mean,
the production is so over the top based on what it is.
I know.
Okay, Mandy, if you're floating in the ocean.
I know.
Okay, hold on. If you're floating in the ocean, and I'm not going to use me in this scenario. I'm going to use somebody that my wife actually likes.
If Joey
Fatone was in the ocean, would you not make room on your fucking piece of wood that you're floating on?
Oh, he would have my wood.
Wow.
I mean, my piece of wood.
That's all I'm saying. You mean that fucking bitch floating in the ocean couldn't make room?
For skinny Leo, because Leo was like toothpick back then.
Selfish little bitch.
Yeah.
And then didn't she throw the necklace in the ocean?
When she's in there in the 90s.
Oh my God. Sell that shit.
Yeah.
Leave some fucking inheritance for your kids. You selfish bitch. That's all I'm saying. It can't be on there.
Okay. All right.
I'm
out then. If Home Alone is not making the list, then
that
we're
being
out.
said, I do think the way it is shot, the boat sinking is fantastic.
It is.
Yeah.
I just love. I think it was the Tonight Show. I think it was Jay Leno was talking about when the movie came out. He said he was at the movies with his wife watching the movie and made some kind of comment to his wife about the ship sinking. And he said someone like by him was like all pissed off
because he ruined the ending of the movie.
Because he made a comment something like, "Oh, it's a shame that the boat sinks" or something like that. Thanks for ruining the movie.
Yeah, because nobody
because you
knew.
didn't know. Oh, this happened 100 fucking years ago. So
not quite, but
not quite. I guess not quite when the movie came out, but
no, it was 85 at that point. I think 85 years at that point.
Yeah, roughly.
Well, 1812 or 1912 to 1997.
All right, let's wrap this up. We got 2 more spots. Throw something else on there. I would put The Usual Suspects on there, but
yeah.
Did we put Scream on there? Or
yeah,
no?
Scream is on there.
It's number 10. Put it at number 6 though. The Usual Suspects.
Yes, sir.
That's right. About 10.
Thanks for telling me how to run my fucking show.
It's our show. You just do all the work.
I was telling somebody at work about that last night also.
Oh, that you do all the work?
They're like, oh yeah, you and Ian do a podcast. That's really cool. And I was like, well, yeah, Ian just kind of shows up to talk, but yeah, I guess he's on there.
Hey, you know what?
Ian brought notes tonight. I
brought notes. Do you think that throughout history, all the famous like talk shows and stuff, these people come up and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do all the work." No, I'm the face of the show. I'm like the star. You do all the work, and it's me that brings people in.
There you go.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit. I couldn't even say that without hating myself for saying it.
All right, we got 1 spot left, Mandy. Put something on the list.
Nope.
With honors.
It's.
I'd put with honors. It's on my top 10, and I think it's at number 5 in my top 10.
Okay. Yeah, we have the whole thing done.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, Mandy.
Are we not going to review it?
I am. What the fuck, people? Jesus. Give me a second.
We'll review it and then thank me later.
Maybe I should take over the show, Mandy.
So the way I'm going to wrap up the show here, I'm going to thank Mandy for being on here.
Yes.
Then I'm going to read through the list. Then that's your cue to say your little spiel, and then I'm going to say goodbye.
What's my spiel?
I don't know.
Do I have a spiel?
No, it's just being funny.
Oh.
Asshole. Asshat.
Okay. Well, do what you got to do.
Anyway, thanks for being on the show, Mandy.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Maybe you'll be on another show soon.
Or not.
Mandy's actually been on like 18 of our episodes now or something like that.
Wow.
Of 92?
Yeah.
More than anyone else other than us.
A lot more than anyone else. All right. Top 10 movies of the 1990s.
Number 10.
Arch picks.
Number 10, Scream. Mm-hmm. Number 9, Good Will Hunting. Number 8, Pulp Fiction. Number 7, Sandlot. Number 6, The Usual Suspects. Number 5, With Honors. Number 4, 7. We should put 7 at number 7. Just saying. Number 4 is 7. Number 3, Silence of the Lambs. Number 2, A League of Their Own. And the number 1 movie?
Forrest Gump.
Wouldn't it have made more sense to put 7 at 11?
Mandy, I'm not close to him. Can you take this pen and stab me in the fucking eye?
Oh, that's bad, but your 7 and 7 is funny as shit.
Because it makes sense.
No, well, so does 7-Eleven.
But we don't have an 11. It's a fucking top 10 list.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that 11 doesn't exist. There is an 11.
11 doesn't exist on our fucking list.
That's because you didn't write it. A little while ago, he did point out.
11 is Crybaby.
Yeah, I was going to say, a little while ago.
Number 11.
11, Crybaby.
Uh-oh.
There you go, Mandy. What's number 11? What's number 11 on the list?
No.
Read it out loud.
No.
Read it out loud.
I'll read it out loud.
Ian's a dumbass. That's what number 11 is.
Ian is a dumbass. That was a fine film. It was a fine film. Well performed, I think.
He performs it to a T.
To a T, absolutely. You'd almost think he was an asshole in real life.
All right. Anyway, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook and Podbean and iTunes. Leave us a how many star review?
6-star review.
5-star review, because Ian's a moron and can't count. You can only leave 5 stars. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Check out our YouTube channel. The last 60 episodes or something like that is on there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on Spotify too, so check us out on Spotify.
Yep.
Well, thanks everyone for being on the show, I guess.
My pleasure, Nick.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining us
on this very special
episode of the Life and Journal Podcast. All right, well, until next time, guys.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you 2 cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, the niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub. Hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.